We're going to be doing dimensional analysis, and as y'all know, dimensional analysis seems like a long drawn out way to do it, but if you can play the matching game, then you can do dimensional analysis, okay? You can do any kind of problem using this. Let's start with example number 5. We'll go over our rules. Let's read it first. The physician writes an order for heparin, 900 units an hour. The label on the IV bag reads, heparin, 10,000 units and 500 mils of D5W. How many mils per hour will deliver the correct dose? Round to the nearest tenth as possible. All right, so the very first step that you do in dimensional analysis is, what is it asking me? What's it asking me for?
Order of heparin, 900 units per hour. The label on the bag
What does it want to know?
they want to know milliliters an hour.
Yes, they want to know how many mils per hour. So we're going to write that up here just to kind of keep us on track.
Okay.
We want to know mils per hour. Yes?
Yes.
Okay. The next step is to look for all of our pairs. Each set of numbers in the problem is going to be paired with something. For example, it says heparin 900 units / hour. The 900 units is one part of the pair, and the hour is the other part of the pair. So we write that down. 900 units per hour. They're like a married couple. They always go together, right? What's my other pair? Where do you see it?
500 mils over, or with 10,000 units.
10,000 units and 500 mils of D5W. 10,000 units and 500 mils. All right, now that we've pulled all the information out that we need, we don't need anything else in that problem. We can now start dimensional analysis. I know that it's 1 mils per hour. How do I know when I can stop when I'm doing dimensional analysis? When whatever I have on this side of the equation, when I have mils on top and hours on the bottom, okay? So, knowing that, I know that no matter what, I always have to match. My first fraction is going to be mils. If mils is on top here, mils goes on top over here. If we were doing a different kind of problem and it was asking drips per minute or something, it would be drips here, minutes here. Drips is on top, then drips would go on top here. So it doesn't matter what it is or what you're looking for. If it's on top here, it goes on top here for your first fraction, right? So I'm looking at, I know I need mils. Where do I see mils from my pair?
500 mils.
I see 500 mils, so I'm going to write that up here. I know it goes on top. What is it paired with?
10,000 units.
10,000 units. Easy so far, right? So I've used this one. I can cross it out because I don't want to use it again and confuse myself, right? Now, they're married. They go together, right? If I were in the problem and I had to get units on top, then I could put 10,000 units on top and 500 on the bottom. It doesn't matter. They can switch places, but they always have to be together. And now I'm going to cross multiply to cancel it out. Because see, I have mils on top. I like that. I don't want that to change. However, I want to get rid of these units. How am I going to get rid of units? If you remember from ratio and proportion, whatever's on top, if you have the same thing on the bottom, you can cancel it out. So that means I need to put units up here. So that way I'll have units on top, and then units on the bottom, and they'll cancel each other out. But what units do I put here? Where else do I see units in my problem that I haven't used yet? 900 units. Okay, and what is that 900 units paired with?
Hours.
With it per hour?
Yeah,
So 1 hour. Can I cross off these units now? Do they cancel each other out? Yes, because I have one on top and one on the bottom. So now I'm left with what on top? Mils.
Yes.
What do I have left on the bottom?
Hours.
Is that what I want? Does that match what my question's asking me for?
Yes.
So that means that I can stop, okay? Once you determine that you can stop, I have what I want on top and I have what I want on bottom, I multiply across. And I don't have my calculator with me, so I'm gonna have to do this, okay? What's 500 times 900?
450,000.
450? Okay, and then what's 10,000 times one? 10,000. Okay? Now we've simplified it, we're gonna simplify it a little more. What's 450,000 divided by 10,000? What?
45
45 what though? What was I left with?
milliliters per hour.
Mils per hour. And that is your answer. All right. Chloe, you wanna read the next one while I'm erasing?
Okay. Administer heparin, 1,000 units per hour from an IV bag mixed with 40,000 units in 1 liter of DSW. How many milliliter per hour will deliver the correct amount of heparin? Round to the nearest tenth place if applicable.
Okay. Very first step, what is it asking me? It says how many mils per hour will deliver the correct amount. So I'm asking for mils per hour, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, very next step, what do? Where are my pairs? Administer heparin 1,000 units per hour, so I know 1,000 units per hour is a pair. 1,000 units per hour, where's my other pair?
40,000 units in 1 liter.
40,000 units per 1 liter, okay? Now I'm ready to start my problem now, right? I know what it's asking me, and I have my pairs. What is my very first step? What do I know has to be on top here?
Milliliters.
Milliliters, because whatever's here needs to go here. Where do I see mils in my problem? I don't.
Yeah.
What do I have?
Liters.
I have liters, right? So if ever I need something in my conversion, but I don't have it in my pairs, that's a clue that you need to put a conversion in. So what do I have? I have liters. So I'm gonna write liters here on the bottom. I still need mils on top, right? So what is my conversion from mils to liters?
1,000 for every liter.
There's 1,000 mils for every 1 liter. Okay? So this still satisfies my rule while putting the conversion in. Mils are still on top, and it's converting it to liters, which I have here on the bottom. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So I have mils on top, that's good, I want to keep that. However, I do not like those liters on the bottom, so how am I going to get rid of it? In order to get rid of something, it has to be on the top and the bottom, right? So I need to move liters up to the top. Where do I see liters in my problem? Can I use it there now?
Yeah.
You have 1 liter with 40,000 units.
1 liter is paired with 40,000 units. All right, so I have liters on the top and liters on the bottom. I can cross them out. So now I'm left with mils per unit, but that's not what I want.
We need to do 1,000.
So I need to do another one to get rid of units. Units are on the bottom, how am I gonna get rid of them?
From on top.
I need to make sure they're on top too. Where else do I see units in my problem? I've crossed this one out because I've used it already.
1,000.
I see 1,000 units, and what is it married to? What's it paired with?
Is paired with 1 hour.
For 1 hour. So I have units on top and units on bottom, cross it out. And leaves me with only mils on top and only what on the bottom? Hours on the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Can I stop? Is that what I'm looking for?
Yes.
Mils per hour? Okay. Now that I know I can stop, I multiply and divide. What's 1,000 times 1,000 times 1?
1 million.
And what is 1 times 40,000 times 1?
40,000.
Okay, what's a million divided by 40,000?
25
And how am I gonna write that? It's 25 what?
milliliters per hour.
25 milliliters per hour. With me so far? So all we're doing is playing a matching game, right? I know I want mils on top, so that's what I start with. I keep my pairs together and I cross them out, crossing out liters, crossing out units, until I'm left with what I want on top and what I want on the bottom. Okay? Moving on, we ready to go to the next one?
Mm-hmm.
I thought that this worksheet had drips per minute on it, but it doesn't. Oh well.
I have one. No. I don't. Fine.
Does the other worksheet I gave you have any on them?
Let me check.
and thick.
Uh-uh. I don't see one. I do have ones in the car.
It's fine. We'll just keep doing. Mils per hour, maybe we'll Google one in a minute. All right. So, the next problem. Give regular insulin by continuous IV infusion at 20 units per hour. Already I'm recognizing that 20 units per hour is what? That's one of my
It's a
pairs.
pair.
Yes, it's a pair. 20 units per hour. The solution is 250 mils of normal saline with 100 units of regular insulin. Is that a pair?
Yes.
Mhm.
250 mils mixed with 100 units, yes. So 250 mils with 100 units. All right. What rate on the infusion pump will deliver the correct dose? And how do we set infusion pumps? Mils per hour, right?
Mhm.
So I know that it's asking me for mils per hour. So I have my pairs, I know what it's asking me for, I can begin my problem, right? First step, I have mils on top, so I need to start with mils on top. Where do I see mils?
250,
250 mils, here. And what's it paired with?
100 units.
100 units. And done. All right, I have mils on top, I'm liking it, but I do not like those units on the bottom, so I have to put them back on top so I can cross them out, right?
Mhm.
They have to cancel each other out. Where do I see units?
20 units.
I have a 20 units per hour pair, so I do 20 units per 1 hour. Okay? Can I cross these units off now? I have one on top and one on bottom. Cross those bad boys out. I'm left with mils on top, hours on the bottom. Can I stop, or do I need to keep going?
You can stop.
All right, what is 250 times 20?
5,000.
What is 100 times 1?
100,
And what is 5,000 divided by 100?
50 ml per hour.
50 mils per hour.